Oh, bad lighting in here. Just wanted to go live and talk a little bit about Joshua Franco's fight. He's in an undisputed fight versus Kazuto Ioka in Japan on December 31st. Um, this is a fight for two fights. This is a unification fight for the WBA and the WBO. Joshua Franco has a interesting career. He fought with Golden Boy for um, for 5 years. I think he turned pro at the age of 19 and was 5 years with Golden Boy. Golden Boy brought him up the traditional way, mostly fighting in at the Belasco Theater in downtown Los Angeles, where they have a lot of their shows, and also out of Indio, out of the Fantasy Springs Casino. I believe Josh fought on the undercard of Canelo once, just like his counterparts, Hector Tanajara and Virgil Ortiz. Um, he suffered a loss early in his, not early in his career, about 12, 13 fights into his career. He had a fight in Puerto Rico where he got hurt and he was kind of slumped over, and uh, the referee used his discretion and called the fight. I think it was the ninth round of a 10-round fight. Like I mentioned earlier, he was signed to Golden Boy. He had that WBA belt that he won from fighting Andrew Maloney. Um, he started his career at 118 and then dropped back down to 115. Um, he's the older brother of Joshua of Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Um, so he's been out since I think August, since his last fight with Maloney. He's been out since that fight. So you could say almost a year and a half. He was part of a four fighter deal that Robert presented to Top Rank. Robert wanted to sign prospects Hector Tanajara, Genaro Gomez, Jonathan Navarro, and Joshua Franco. If you don't know this story, Roberts told it several times. Top Rank only showed interest in Hector Tanajara, who is in one of the more popular divisions, 135, and didn't show interest in any of the other fighters. So Robert took the deal and presented it to Golden Boy, and Golden Boy um signed all four fighters. Uh, Hector Tanajara, he's now 20-1. Joshua Franco, 18-1-2. Genaro Gomez ended his career like around 11-1. And Jonathan Navarro, who fights at 140. Jonathan Navarro, who fights at 140, is Jonathan Navarro fights at 140, and he's 17-0. One of the interesting things that I like about this fight is that Bam is traveling with Josh. There's already pictures on Twitter of the three of them: Jesse Senior, Jesse Rodriguez Senior, Bam, and Josh. They're in Japan. Bam is the only RGBA fighter. RGBA is Robert Garcia Boxing Academy. Is the only fighter out of that gym that is signed to Tekken Promotions, Mr. Honda, which promoted Robert in his career. I think that the first three fights is what Robert said of his career were under Mr. Honda. Mr. Honda's Tekken Promotions. So they gonna, and that promotion company is out of Japan. So they have it looks based on the stuff that I'm seeing on Twitter and on Instagram that they have access to a gym there in Japan, clearly through Tekken Promotions. Um, and Robert posted a picture earlier in the week, what looked to be Bam and Josh sparring. In an interview, uh, Bam was asked if he ever spars his brother, and he said that he does. He said that Sometimes they get light work in. They do spar, but that Josh actually picks him apart. That was an interesting thing for Bam to say. He said that after in an interview after his after beating Carlos Cuadras. Um, it's an interesting factor is that Josh's 5 years with Golden Boy ended right as uh, Bam Bam's career kind of took off. Bam fought 3 times this last year, and Josh was kind of sidelined. Um, it'd be interesting to see, and I haven't asked Robert, but it'd be interesting to know if Matchroom or Top Rank, offered Joshua Franco a contract, especially holding that WBA title that he got off of Andrew Maloney. Robert has a great relationship with Bob Arum and some of the brass over there at Top Rank. He also has a good relationship with Golden Boy Promotions with Roberto Diaz and Eric Gomez. So it'd be interesting to see if Robert asked him to present offers, um, or Matchroom, not Golden Boy. He was signed to Golden Boy, so Golden Boy technically. Uh, I don't know. That's an interesting question for either Rick Merigan, who manages Joshua Franco, or for Robert to see kind of what happened with Golden Boy. For that, it's interesting because his 5 years must have terminated, but he was holding a belt. So somewhere in the contract, it must have said that if you're a title holder, once your contract is up, it automatically gets extended. But then at 115, who knows if Golden Boy was? I would assume that Golden Boy wasn't able to, negotiate a deal with any of those other fighters um, with titles at 115. Um, but I'd also like to know if that was offered to if Robert presented Joshua Franco to Matchroom with Eddie Hearn's champions at 112, 115, 118. Um, an interesting thing that I want to bring up in this video is that Bam Bam's reaction when Josh Franco beat Andrew Maloney. When he fought Andrew Maloney, we're coming out of the pandemic, and they were holding shows in the bubble in Las Vegas. And I don't even think Franco's dad, Jesse Rodriguez Sr., was allowed in the corner. I think the only two people allowed into the venue for the fight were Robert Garcia and Pita Garcia, his son, Pita Robert Garcia Jr., aka Pita. Um, Luckily, Ellie was out there and was outside the venue and recorded some footage. And when Josh came out with the belt, Bam greeted him and like gave him a huge hug and told him, I told you," meaning, Bam has more confidence in his brother than anybody else. He knows what he can do. He knows what he's capable of. I thought that was a super interesting interaction, and it just goes to show you, how good Josh really is. Now, Ioka is a handful. Ioka, I watched 2 of his fights. I saw the Tanaka fight from a couple years ago. He was 15-0 or 16-0. And then I saw his last fight versus Donny Nietes. And Ioka is very disciplined fighter. He has a great jab. He has a good 1-2, and he has a good left to the body. He mixes up his punches well. He doesn't waste punches, and he kind of has, if I remember correctly, he kind of holds a kind of a high guard. But he's very disciplined, decent footwork, above average power. I think I think Franco is going to have one of his best performances. He's gonna. I'll say it this way: Franco needs to have had a great camp, and he's gonna need that Andrew Maloney first fight type of performance against all odds, against a different Andrew Maloney was the favorite fighter in Las Vegas. He was the top ranked fighter on a top ranked show. All the odds were against Josh. The odds were ridiculous. I think 10 to 1, 12 to 1, something like that. It was out of control what the betting lines were. But if he can pull off that level performance where he can stay focused for a full 12 rounds, then I think he has a chance. The deck is stacked against him. Obviously, the judges are going to be from Japan. Um, the fight, the crowd is going to be cheering for Ioka. It's going to be New Year's. Everything's against him. But he's done it before. He did it with Andrew Maloney without his dad in his corner, which in every other fight of his career, his dad's always been there. So he knows what it's like to be in there uh, with everything against him. And I think he must know this, having sat out for a year and seen his little brother's career take off. I think I'm assuming that's a lot of motivation for him. The last time I went to the gym, it was September, and he was already in the gym for this December 31st fight in September, which means, let's say he got there mid-September. He's been training for this fight for almost 3.5 months. At least 3 months, which is what, 90 days. Hey, what's up, JC? So I think he's super motivated. I think, in my personal opinion, last time I went to the gym, it was September, so I didn't have any interactions with them. But just the little stuff that I see from online, the stuff I see on Instagram, the stuff I see on Twitter, I think he's gonna step up to the plate. But like I said, anything, anything can happen. Ioka is a very talented fighter, just based on that Tanaka fight and that Donny Nietes fight. Very disciplined, does not waste a lot of punches. Very patient. So that's um, that's how I see the fight going. Now, Joshua likes to fight going forward, which served him well in the fights against Maloney. Um, but it's gonna be a back and forth. Sometimes Josh is gonna have to back up because he's got to respect Ioka's power. So it's gonna be a good chess match. There's gonna be a lot going on, um, but I think he has all the capabilities to do it. Franco was very motivated for that first Andrew Maloney fight. In the gym, their strength and conditioning coach, Charles Tremblay, they even have a name for it. They even have a name. When you're in great shape, they call it Franco Maloney fight one type strength or type conditioning, which means he was in the best shape of his entire career for that first Andrew Maloney fight, and very right should have been, because that was for a title. Uh, he's been against all odds. Um, the press conference, I know Robert's there. The press conference uh, was a couple days ago. I saw Robert there with both Josh and Bam. I think they're in good spirits based on what I see online. But like I said, a huge a huge bonus for them being out there in Japan is that Mr. Honda Taken Promotions is from Japan, so they're gonna have a lot of access to a lot of gyms and a lot of amenities that'll help Josh prepare to the best of his abilities. He started at 118. His last few fights have been at 115. Bam post fight said that he would, when asked if who was next, Gallo Estrada or Chocolatito, that was before they fought. He said those are fights for my brother. I thought that was very interesting for Bam to say that. I'm gonna go back down to 112, maybe catch a belt at 108, and leave these guys at super flyweight for my brother. That's my brother's division. So I think definitely the winner, whether it be Ioka or Franco, they definitely put themselves in a great position to fight either Gallo Estrada, who holds the WBC super flyweight, um, or Chocolatito, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, who says he has 3 or 4 more fights. Um, that's all I got for now. I'm super pumped for this fight, December 31st. It doesn't look like anybody in the U.S. picked up the fight, like the Zone or ESPN. So somebody posted something on Twitter where we could find um, the app or the network that was covering it. I don't know it off the top of my head. I have to go back and look it up. But I'm super pumped for this fight. It's a great fight. It's a unification fight. It's a fight that where there's a lot of stakes. There's a lot at stake. The winner of this could be clearly entitled for be in line for a title fight versus El Grado Estrada or Chocolatito Roman Gonzalez. So happy holidays, everybody, and God bless everybody. We'll talk to you later.